Police investigate vehicle accident in Guanabay area. Now you know, with Valerie Van Putten. Guest, Dr. Emiko Birdlake, cardiologist, inviting you on August 20th, 2026 at the White and Yellow Cross Foundation. Open letter to the government and Parliament of St. Martin. FBI's most wanted alleged fraudster returned to the US after Jamaica arrest. From the island of St. Martin, this is SXM Daily News for July 27, 2026. The police force of St. Martin, KPSM, is investigating the circumstances surrounding a single vehicle accident that occurred in the Guanabay area late Friday evening. At approximately 10:30 p.m. on Friday, July 24th, KPSM dispatch received a report that a vehicle carrying 2 occupants had gone off the roadway near one of the lookout points in the Guanabay area. Responding patrol officers arrived at the scene and learned that for reasons still under investigation, the vehicle had left the road and come to rest approximately halfway down the hillside. Without hesitation, the responding officers descended the steep hillside to locate the occupants. Both individuals were found inside the vehicle and were successfully reached by the officers. One of the occupants complained of severe upper body pain and was unable to move. The fire department and ambulance department were immediately dispatched and arrived promptly at the scene. Firefighters initiated a technical rescue operation, safely extricating both occupants as well as the police officers who had remained with the victims to provide reassurance and assistance until additional emergency personnel arrived. The injured occupant received medical treatment at the scene before being transported by ambulance to the St. Martin Medical Center, SMMC, for further evaluation and treatment. The second occupant was also safely rescued and removed from the hillside. The cause of the accident remains under investigation. KPSM commends the professionalism, dedication, and teamwork demonstrated by all emergency responders. The coordinated efforts of the police force, fire department, and ambulance department reflect the unwavering commitment of St. Martin's emergency services to protecting lives and serving the community. The St. Martin Anti-Poverty Platform calls on the government and Parliament of St. Martin to amend the 2026 country budget so that the fight against poverty becomes a measurable budget priority and not merely a stated policy intention. A national budget cannot be judged only by whether income and expenditure are financially balanced. It must also be judged by whether the people of the country can eat adequately, pay for housing, electricity and water, obtain medicines and health care, travel to work, send their children to school, communicate, and participate in society with dignity. The 2026 budget should therefore be amended to strengthen the household budgets of people in need, guarantee access to basic needs, reduce and ultimately eradicate poverty, and meet St. Martin's human rights obligations. Majority of low-income households have less than a basic needs income. The fundamental question that government and Parliament must answer is simple. Can the people and households of St. Martin meet their basic needs with the income available to them? Our analysis indicates that thousands of households cannot. The 2026 country budget does not define a basic needs income. The 2026 country budget provides ordinary expenditure of approximately XCG 635.9 million and ordinary income of approximately XCG 647.1 million. Yet the budget does not clearly identify an official social minimum or basic needs income standard, the number of households living below that standard, the aggregate income gap affecting those households, or a concrete plan to close that gap. This must change. More than 50 years ago, experts in the former Netherlands Antilles developed basic needs standards based on the cost of necessities required for a person to live. Those 1974 amounts cannot simply be used today. At a minimum, they must be adjusted for more than 5 decades of increases in the cost of living. And a credible 2026 standard must also recognize necessities that did not exist in the same form in 1974. 3 scenarios for the 2026 Basic Needs Budget. For the 2026 budget debate, SMAP proposes that government and Parliament use a 3-scenario framework. The first 2 scenarios are working estimates based on the 2022 Census Household Income Distribution. The third must be completed when the government-commissioned NIBUD household-specific reference budgets are published. A. Minimum living wage. Working households should not remain poor because wages are inadequate. Government must establish a living wage trajectory and assess the statutory minimum wage against the actual cost of basic needs. Under the illustrative mixed financing model, approximately XCG 91.4 million of the residual gap would be closed through additional wage and employment income rather than through direct government transfers. B. Tax relief for people below the basic needs level. The tax system should not take income from households that are already below an agreed social minimum. The government should examine higher tax-free allowances, refundable low-income or earned income tax credits, and child or family credits. Under the illustrative model, approximately XCG 34.3 million of the residual gap would be addressed through tax relief or refundable credits. C. Adequate social pensions, social assistance, and income. Replacement. AOV pensions. Social assistance and other income replacement benefits must be evaluated against actual household needs rather than only adjusted periodically by percentage increases that may leave recipients permanently below the cost of living. Under the illustrative model, approximately XCG 34.3 million of the residual gap would be addressed through strengthened social security and income replacement mechanisms. The government of St. Martin regulates the prices of petroleum products by imposing maximum prices at which wholesalers and retailers may sell these products on St. Martin. Currently, SOL is required to restock its fuel supply. Due to developments in the international market, the price of ULG on the world market has increased, while the price of diesel remains unchanged. Consequently, SOL can purchase ULG at a higher price. This price development has been verified by the Department of Economy, Transportation, and Telecommunication against international Platts postings. As a result, there is a need to adjust the maximum consumer price of ULG accordingly. The public is hereby informed that, as of July 28, 2026 at 6 a.m., the maximum consumer prices for ULG and diesel are as follows. Product current price, ULG gasoline, 2.940, new price, 3.076 gas oil, diesel, 2.564, 2.564, unchanged. Below is the complete price build-up showing all components that result in the new ULG and diesel price. All numbers are rounded to 3 decimal places.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now. SXM, yeah.
Now You Know with Valerie Van Putten, guest Dr. Emiko Birdlake, cardiologist. Take this opportunity to invite you to our program on August 20th, 2026 at the White and Yellow Cross Foundation from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Well, we will be talking about advanced care planning, shared decision-making, making a living will, and also the Do Not Resuscitate, DNR policy. We must start this conversation with each other so that we can understand and also respect the preferences and wishes of each other so that in case of a critical situation, we know exactly what we need to do.
I think that you honor a person best if you do what their desires are. What are your wishes? If I can do that for you, I know that I've honored you. But if I do something against your will because I think this is the best for you, I dishonor you. And that's the same thing how I feel as a medical professional. I want to be able to treat you in the manner that you want. Of course, not everybody, some people do want some kind of treatment that's impossible to give. Treatment that they have somewhere in Belgium that are, or Europe or that it's on trial basis.
Right.
Of course, I cannot guarantee that, but we can talk about what are the other options, what are the alternatives that we can do. Most important for me too is that if a patient decides, I don't want to do anything, how do you guide them?
Yeah.
No. I don't know if that's giving up. Let's say there are some patients who believe, and there are some professionals who also believe that going natural, going bio, that are for religious
like that.
reasons.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
they don't want chemotherapy, for example, or they don't want particular treatment, but they trust in God. So religious reasons. Those are the things you still have to. That's their belief, and that's what they want to try. So you have to give them that opportunity to do so. You have to give them actually the freedom, but you have to explain to them what the consequences can be. And once you, as a person, have decided that I will accept this, I may die if I don't do this, and you have accepted it, then all we can do is just reflect on it every time. And once you've decided that and put that on paper, then we have to respect that. It's just like for example, a Jehovah's Witness that says, I do not want to receive blood.
Yeah, blood
You
transfusion,
have to respect that
Yeah, exactly.
as a medical professional. Of course, at every moment you discuss it again, because people change their minds.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
despite
yes.
their beliefs
I've
or
seen that
despite
also.
any document signed at the point in time when it's needed, people may change their mind. So you ask them again, are you sure you do not want to receive any blood transfusions? And if they're adamant about it, then you respect that. So that's what I'm saying, that that people make choices in life, and which is important. But you make a choice in life that is based on information gathered either by yourself, information given by the specialist or your general practitioner, or information that you may have maybe from other members, family members who've experienced similar things. And all that information, you make a decision that's best for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Bird, checking into the hospital, is every patient, how do you go about signing the papers?
Yes.
Do you wait until you get the person, whether they're dying or not? But how do you introduce that here on the island? Because I know it abroad, they will come with those papers, sign this.
Yes.
You got a whole bunch of documents to sign. But we don't really do that here.
No, we do that, but not necessarily. We're going to start really to, by every admission, if it's very clear cut, you're ill, but you can be resuscitated. We assume you have a full code, but we have to ask, because we cannot just assume. A full code means that you do everything. Okay,
Everything.
yes,
Such
so
as?
you resuscitate, you give treatment.
Okay.
That's a full code.
Like that. Okay.
Yes, and then you have but if a patient comes in quite ill and frail or whatever, and you suspect anything, you do have to ask that question, and because some people have thought about it. in the Caribbean, I realize that people really don't think about it. But for example, in Europe, it's a common thing,
Right.
because they're confronted with that. And the moment that you go into in the hospital anywhere, for every little thing you have to sign. If you go to Colombia, they walk with their telephones, and you have to sign for everything. Even that a nurse does or whatever does, you have to sign for that, So we want to implement that in the hospital as well, because we really want to honor the wishes of and the preferences of the patients. And it's important that we have transparency, because sometimes a patient comes in, it's not clear, sometimes we have a discussion with family. Half of the family does, half of the family doesn't, So we need to make it transparent for all. Because you come to the situation that a patient may say, oh, I didn't want to be resuscitated, or we resuscitate somebody, and then the family member comes like, oh, well, they didn't want that. But we never knew.
Right.
But if we had known, we would have respected that, or done what we needed to do. So it's important for us that we discuss it with patients, but at times, also based on medical reasons, the doctors can also decide not to do any resuscitation, that it could be futile.
Even though a family member wants it done, or even if the papers, documents haven't been signed, but he will decide, he has the last say, in other words?
Depending on the clinical
condition.
situation and the condition of the patient, we go into discussion with family members. But if you see that, for example, you have multi-organ failure, in the sense that you're so ill, your liver is out, your kidneys out, your heart is dysfunctioning, then to resuscitate really is not going to help. Okay? We have to also realize that I am for resuscitation. I'm definitely for that. Even in the community, people understand what resuscitation is, and in the community, they even start with basic life support when somebody collapses. Okay, so that's why we also are promoting that. We did it with the Heart and Stroke Foundation, where we promoted that we want people to have the AEDs. So the automatic defibrillators, yes, so that the businesses can have those defibrillators in them, because it can save a life.
Did you give training on that?
Well, we didn't do the training, but the WEAMS, for example, does training. You have different organizations and also nurses.
And then it's up to the employer. Or
we had a
whoever.
session about it, and a couple of years ago we had a program where we talked about AEDs. We talked about resuscitation. We had testimonials of patients who survived, resuscitation, and it's not yet so clear cut as it is, for example, in Curacao, where you have a whole map of where AEDs are on the island. We don't have that overview yet, but it is important for the future, for maybe the Ministry of Health, or to indicate, hey, where are all the AEDs, and how many people in the community are also able to do basic life support. Okay, so that's what I'm said. I am for resuscitation, because you can save a person's life. However, you have to realize that also only 25% of the patients survive a resuscitation.
25%, you said?
Or less,
Wow.
And of that, also, when you enter the hospital, only a few end up going home. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to our program on August 20th, 2026 at the White and Yellow Cross Care Foundation from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. where we will be talking about advanced care planning, shared decision making, making a living will, and also do not resuscitate, so DNR policy. It is important that we start this conversation with each other so that we can understand and also respect the preferences and wishes of each other, so that in case of a critical situation, we know exactly what we need to do for each other. So I invite you to come out and have this discussion with us.
A woman who appeared on the FBI's Most Wanted Fraudsters list has been arrested in Jamaica and returned to the United States to face federal charges over her alleged role in a US $32 million COVID-19 relief fraud scheme. Elaine Ann Jean Esco, 41, arrived in South Florida on Thursday after Jamaican authorities arrested her following a federal manhunt. Prosecutors allege she fled to Jamaica after failing to appear in federal court in May 2025 and lived under the alias Harley Newman while evading authorities. Esco faces charges including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering, concealment of money laundering, and transactional money laundering. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida, Esco and several co-defendants allegedly submitted more than 90 fraudulent applications between May 2020 and November 2021 for funds from the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, EIDL, Program, Restaurant Revitalization Fund, RRF, and Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, SVOG. This most wanted fraudster allegedly obtained tens of millions in COVID-19 relief, stealing critical resources from legitimate businesses during a national crisis, said Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. She fled the country believing she could escape justice, but ultimately could not. Those who exploit taxpayer-funded programs will be held accountable by this Department of Justice, no matter how long it takes or where they attempt to hide. Federal investigators allege the applications contained false information about employee numbers, payroll expenses, and business revenues. Authorities say the scheme resulted in the fraudulent disbursement of approximately $29.1 million in PPP funds, $1.2 million in RRF funds, and $3.8 million in SVOG funds. After receiving the funds, Esco and her alleged co-conspirators are accused of directing payments to one another and to businesses they controlled, withdrawing large sums of cash and using blank-signed checks to conceal the source and nature of the proceeds. Prosecutors also allege some fraudulent applications were submitted on behalf of third parties in exchange for kickbacks of up to 50% of the loan proceeds.
Now for the weather forecast. Tonight through Tuesday evening, fair to partly cloudy, slightly hazy and slightly breezy. Isolated showers are likely surface winds. Tonight through Tuesday evening, easterly to southeasterly with a light to moderate breeze at 5 to 16 Num1 price. State of the sea, slight to moderate. Waves are swells, 2 to 5 feet outlook through Wednesday evening. Occasionally cloudy, hazy and breezy with isolated showers. And now your 3-day forecast.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
Aplauso.
Por su fiesta novembrina,
Seguimos,
y en su zona vespertina se mira la mar serena. Luego la mujer morena por el camello pasea y el negro que la desea. Tiene tu Cartagena.
¿Qué dice? Voy para arriba.
En la esquina de la un aplauso a toda la familia. Porque los damos. Hace un santo milagroso que se llama Ahora. Watch me balance it. Just without a dime. Watch me balance it. Watch me balance it.
Laat je horen voor onze haveloos prinses Heavenly! En onze queen, zilvercarnaval 2026, Miraina! En onze dansqueen, onze queen van 2026. Hij is zijn eigen feestje aankomen erachter.
This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.